Hey guys, it's Lance and Lauren, and we are live on episode 21 of Elevated with Lance and Lauren. And today you're going to want to pay attention if you have ever felt like you have overcomplicated your plan to get back in shape and you feel like you don't know whether to stop eating every 2 hours or to make sure that you're not eating past 7:30 at night, or that, should you be cutting out all carbs. These are the sort of things that people get tripped up on a regular basis. And unfortunately, there are so many myths and misnomers surrounding nutrition for fat loss, nutrition for weight loss, nutrition for health and wellness.
Yep.
People don't know where to put what. And so if that's you, if you feel like, gosh, man, I see so-and-so losing all this weight doing the same things that I did, and I can't figure this stuff out, I don't know what I should be doing, this episode is for you. We're going to dive into this stuff and make sure that we demystify how to actually get back into shape and actually simplify the nutrition for fat loss. Mm-hmm. So this is an important one, because I would say that so many people for a decade or more learn so many habits, and they don't really understand which habits are moving the needle for fat loss. Mm-hmm. And what we see is so many people come into our program and they are holding on to old habits that they're not even sure works. And it's kind of this struggle of letting go of that, because even though they're coming to us going, okay, my way hasn't worked, there's still this addiction or cling to the old ways. And I think that a lot of that comes with not really understanding which of those old patterns actually don't do anything. Mm-hmm. We actually had an individual who believed that a lot of his particular results came from drinking some sort of this water thing that he did. Yeah. And he had been doing that for years prior to doing this. It was because he didn't understand the science of the fact that no amount of clean water is going to cause you to burn more fat, and nor is it going to cause you to actually eliminate more calories. Right. It was mathematically and scientifically impossible. The problem is that this individual didn't really go through some of the processes to learn, wait a second, is what I think I know actually the truth? Mm-hmm. And so that is today what we're talking about. So number one is, I would say, if you want to take the very first one, because this is the one that everybody screws up on. It just goes crazy. So number one is huge.
For sure. And before I hit number one, I can just say that from previous experience, I really got lost in the weeds with fitness when I first started. Mm-hmm. Because, and I even said this yesterday on a video, but I was very you knew a ton, right? But I was so embarrassed of just where I was at. And even though you're compassionate and you lead with empathy first, it's still hard to admit you need help.
Sure.
And so, I told the story yesterday about being the cardio queen and wanting to do cardio and lift weights, because I was kind of diving into that whole should you lift weights thing with women. But, I can remember, doing things like I would literally try to eat every 2 to 3 hours. We learned that. We used to teach that a long time ago. To make sure that I kept my metabolism running and all of those good things. And then, of course, I used to freak out about the scale a lot. And before I understood or learned that, lean body mass is not going to be picked up on that stupid thing that you step on to find out if you're, 2 pounds lighter today. So what I want to say with that is that sometimes before I get to number one, before I tell you what that is, sometimes you have to stop and let all of that stuff go, and just embrace the fact there might be some other things that you don't know, or the very things that you think you know might actually be costing you a lot in the long run. So the first thing that we always want to mention is you want to start with the very basics first. So keep the main things the main thing. I'm sure that, or the main thing the main thing. And I'm sure you've heard that before, but it's kind of true in everything. It's true in your marriage. It's true in your friendships. It's true in your career. It's true in fitness. And so for us, the main things, and Lance can add to or correct if he wants, but that we think about all the time is, are you tracking your food? That's a main thing. And are you working out consistently, at least 3 days a week for about half an hour? Are you doing those things? Because if you're not, that's going to be the starting point for you. That's going to be the basic for you to start moving forward and actually chipping away at the pounds, or moving the needle, as we like to say.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that, that are, very first one is that if you're watching this and you consider yourself to be, whether overtly or covertly, an intellectual, I know that it might be something where you're thinking to yourself, yeah, but I read, or yeah, but I heard, or so on and so forth. for those of you guys, and I don't want this to come off offensively, but I do want to make sure that you are able to let go of some of those things. So what I do want to remind people of is what's called the Dunning-Kruger Effect. The Dunning-Kruger Effect is where you learn a small amount of something that actually gives you a little bit more insight than what you had before. And because of that, the Dunning-Kruger Effect causes people to believe that they know more of the piece of, or more of the whole pie than what they do. The reason is because they learn, let's say, a 1/8 of a slice of pie worth of knowledge, and it's not that they don't realize that the size of the pie isn't what it is, if we're using that analogy. It's that they think that that slice of the pie makes up 80 or 90% of the pie, and that slice really only makes up 1/8 of the pie. And so where I'm going with that is that there are a lot of things that are out there that people can learn. And if you learn those things, such as meal timing, for example, eating every 2 to 3 hours will actually help the metabolism in certain facets. But the big picture is that what we know through vast studies over the last 10 years is that while eating every 2 to 3 hours might help the metabolism, when you dive into how much, it's actually less than 1%. So you're grueling over making sure that you're eating every 3 hours, even though you run a business, have 7 kids, 4 dogs and all this stuff, and you're running everybody to track and to this and that, and you're struggling to just meal prep and to keep your food together and all this stuff. What would happen if you were to let go of the notion that you don't need to eat every 2 to 3 hours? You were just simply needing to follow the main big part of it, which is actually going to be more related to how many calories you're taking in. Because here's the deal, guys. If you're worried about consuming every 2 to 3 hours and stop eating after 7 or 8 p.m., but you don't understand that your body only loses body fat through a deficit of calories,
doesn't matter.
You're in the weeds and you've missed the forest through the trees. And this here is what is keeping you from moving the needle for your goals. So, excuse me. The issue is that if you don't focus on the main things, which is again burning calories and consuming the right amount of calories, and then from there would be macronutrients, then micronutrients, etc. There's a hierarchy of things to focus on, and most people tend to focus on that thing at the very top of that pyramid, which is the least important thing, such as meal timing, supplements. Those are things that you only focus on once you've got that foundation built. So hope that helps. That is something absolutely huge. The second thing, only once you have gotten the basics, the foundation, the keystone habits built and understood, then you start building on those basics when those are mastered. For example, our clients, they might come in thinking, I need to learn about vitamin A and C and riboflavin and how these things, and I heard that this causes cancer and I need to run from this, and I read that I should cut out all sugar alcohols. Here's the deal. There are a lot of things that you might have heard that you might think that are important, and it's not that those things are not to some degree important, but in the beginning, they're not the most important. They're not the things that are going to help you to see, wow, I'm putting in this much effort and it's giving me this much outcome. What happens when you're focused on all these little things is you put up this much effort and you get this much outcome, because you're doing things that take significant more effort, eating every 2 to 3 hours, meal prepping all the time, cutting out food at 8 p.m. and all these rules, and you're missing the one main thing. Am I actually eating the right amount of calories and macros? And am I working out 3 to 5 times a week?
And I would say that as just an example, when you want to dive in deeper to a point where you learn, like, well, what food should I be taking in to keep me from developing cancer or things like that? That stuff becomes easy and fun to learn once very basics you don't have to think about anymore. So what do I mean when I say that? What I mean is that we've been tracking our food for how many years now?
6 to 8. It's a long time.
I don't even think about it, truthfully. It takes me maybe 3 minutes a day to load everything in there. And some things I eat daily. There's the same snacks and stuff like that, because I'm a little bit of a creature of habit. Not on all things, but I am on some things. And some things I'll put those things in at the end of the day, because I already know here what a yogurt costs me, and you know, having some granola with it, I know those things. So the point is that I'm not putting effort into that stuff because it's already a habit. It's a daily habit, much like brushing your teeth. No one gets, you know, flustered that they gotta brush their teeth twice a day because it's, or some people do it 3 times a day, but at least twice a day, right? Because it's just something that you already do. It's in your routine. Same thing with working out. Like, I don't want to focus on if I don't even do the basics of working out, like getting into the gym and actually doing the whole output situation, so burning calories. It's really kind of silly for me to focus on trying to get on the stage to do a show. Like, that makes no sense. So
well, it's easy. Another way too is that people a lot of times will come up and ask us like, how do I work out this part that gets rid of this thing? And my question is, are you consistently working out 3 to 5 times a week, and do you know what you're doing?
Right.
Before you're asking me how do I spot specifically focus on this little minutia of my body?
Right.
The better question is, am I actually doing things that are going to remove the body fat and actually help me to be healthier overall?
Yep.
So when you're focusing on, hey, Lance and Lauren, give me a tip and a trick for how to, you know, get a better booty and to lift this, that, and the other, but you're 35%, body fat instead of 20 to 23, and you're not consistently hitting workouts, you don't need to be worrying about what type of tricep push down or which type of glute med versus, this type of thing to work out. You need to focus on consistency and what am I doing that's causing me to not be consistent. Those are the things to focus on before focusing on the minutia. So we keep focus on the big things, the main things. And when you keep the main things the main thing, you get main thing sort of outcomes. When you focus on the minutia, you get minutia outcomes. So you cut out sugar alcohols and sugar-free gum because you heard that your favorite bodybuilder does that. And you start doing this, and you're like, well, dang, this didn't move the scale at all. Well, no crap. That's something that you only do once you're dialing in the nitty-gritty.
Right.
You only know this when you're following a system of people who are guiding you to actually stay fit instead of a bodybuilder guiding you to get fit just for a stage, which is just smoke and mirrors.
Totally.
There is a difference between what we do and what the masses do. Just being plain and simple, being blunt on it. If you're looking for a transformation that lasts longer than 90 days, follow what we're telling you to do. Understand these things. If you're looking to drop fat as soon as possible and you don't give a crap whether you regain it back, keep doing all the other stuff. Cut out the sugar alcohols. Cut out diet soda while you're at it. In fact, stop eating at 6 p.m. Do that. Make sure that you're only eating 1 hour a day, and make sure that you're as miserable as possible, but you're going to get those results as fast as you can imagine. Keep doing that, and you're going to keep on getting the same thing. Obviously, I'm being facetious here, but there's a reason, guys. Because so many people, they reach out, Lance, Lauren, help me. I will do anything. And we start telling them, okay, well, this part doesn't matter and this does. Okay, Lance, Lauren, help me with anything but that. Because I don't want to change what I'm already doing. I just want you to help me to make a couple tweaks and all of a sudden the magic to happen. Well, that's not the way that the laws of science and thermodynamics work. Yeah. So we want to focus on all of these things collectively to make sure that not only you get results in the short term, but you didn't sacrifice your results in the long term just to do it.
Yep. Well, and I would say too that you don't have to be miserable to get into shape. You don't. I actually remember a time where it was back whenever Dannon came out with those strawberry cheesecake yogurts.
Yeah.
And I was putting myself through hellacious amounts of guilt for eating those because I enjoyed it.
Right.
Because we were doing clean eating, and I thought that because I really enjoyed that, every day I looked forward to that I shouldn't have it.
One of my favorite, one of our favorite old sayings that I still just cracks up. I could write a book of everything that clients have said, but this one, she was obviously joking, but she was she was telling me, she's like, oh yeah, my son or my friend was like, how have you done it and lost all this weight? How have you done all this stuff? And she's like, it's really simple. If you're eating something and it tastes good, spit it out.
Yeah, and that's truthfully.
Oh, it just cracked me up. And obviously she's joking, but the thing of it is she's like, that's how she felt.
Yeah. Before,
when it's only the clean eating thing.
Yep.
Guys, the clean eating, does it work? It does work if you're within your calories. Right. Is it effective? It is if you love the food and don't have cravings of other things.
Right.
That doesn't fit for me, it doesn't fit for her. So we do 80-20, 80% focus on cleanish or holistic type foods and 20% on foods that are more calorie dense. It's fun this way. You get great results, but you don't feel deprived. Right. It's amazing. You should try that.
Like yesterday, guys, for some reason, Dunkaroos have come back out. And I went to QT and got me a packet of Dunkaroos, and I ate them, and it was so freaking good. I was excited. But it was like, I can do that without guilt, because it fit into my macros, and that was my junk,
she knows she has a foundation of what the main things are. So she's not eating that and going, oh God, I cheated on my diet. She's eating this and going, cool, this fits perfectly today, because she knows what the main things are, and that's the key. Yeah. All right, the very last one, guys, I cannot stress this enough. This is where it by far, focus on alignment and not perfection.
100%.
I cannot stress that enough. And what I mean by alignment is this. For example, I like to make the analogy that a lot of times trainers and coaches give you a map on what to do. Now, a map can be a good thing. It's sure as heck better than no map at all. But what do you do when you've got a map, and does the map let you know that there's a down power power outage, a power line that's in your way, a cattle truck that's overturned? It doesn't. The fact is that the map is going to tell you what to do if no roads have been changed, no obstacles, no nothing. That map's going to work. That's what a lot of people are operating with. What we like to do is teach an alignment principle, which is more based on, rather than a map, it's more, think of a compass or a GPS system. A compass is going to tell you north no matter what. So when you hit the road and realize, oh my gosh, there's a cattle truck down, now technically speaking, you would definitely want GPS over a compass, because a compass just says, well, you still need to go north and you got to get around this. It is better than a map because it's still telling you where you're going. The negative part is that it doesn't tell you how to navigate through that. A GPS system is something that's going to tell you, hey, Lance, there's a down whatever up here, make a left turn, it's going to save you 13 minutes. That's an amazing thing. The other thing it's going to do is, if you stop on your trip to your vacation because the kids have to pee for the 47th time, you make a right and you realize I'm 28 minutes behind schedule, that GPS is going to not tell you to take your same route to get this way, that way, etc. The GPS is going to say, basically, here's your fastest route to get you back to the main drag. This is what we call alignment. When you made that wrong turn, your GPS notices, hey, Lance, you're out of alignment, and it shifts you this way.
Yep, correct.
If you're focused on perfection, instead of just looking for the direction, the GPS is showing you where to align to. Perfection goes, oh, I messed up. I took a wrong turn. Kids, we're going back home.
No vacation.
We can't go to Florida today because mommy messed up and made a wrong turn, and I've got to beat myself up with some guilt and make sure that I will never do this again, kids. So today you're going to miss out. You would never do that. But this is what you do all the time with your fitness when you don't have something to align to. So rather than perfection, where you're trying to make everything perfect so that your map is perfect and you can get there on time, we don't teach that. We simply focus on the GPS. You're looking at the GPS and, I'm a little out of it, and you move yourself over by correcting 1 to 3 habits at most, and then you're in alignment, and you work on those. And you get out of alignment a little bit, just like a pilot who's flying from New York to Hawaii. The nose of the plane gets 4 to 5 degrees away and pulls back, and then pulls and pulls back. Yep. It's a constant adjustment. This way, when you focus on this, it's going to constantly help you to get away from the shame and guilt that causes spirals when we're out of alignment. Totally. Instead of viewing everything as a wagon to fall from, it's simply that a GPS you're either aligned with or aligned out of, and it's your choice. Whenever you realize you're out of alignment, by looking at the GPS, you just realign yourself. No guilt, no shame, no nothing, and no loss of time because you're trying to pick up the pieces over the spilled milk that's happening here. That doesn't even make any sense.
I was going to say, what?
But still, you're trying to pick up the pieces, or you're trying to clean up the spilled milk, whatever. So I'm mixing and matching. The point here is that when you're focused on alignment over perfection, you stop derailing yourself from actually taking action to get you the results that you want and need. So true. That is the idea. Yeah. So, anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think you nailed that one.
With all of my mismatched analogies and idioms. So guys, truly we hope that this has helped you. Yeah. If you want to know a little bit deeper, okay, well, you're telling us start with the basics and the keystone habits. What are those? Or you're telling me about alignment. I love the sound of alignment, but I don't know what to align to. We would love to chat with you. Send us a direct message or comment below and let us know what your goals are, and let's just chat a little bit about if and how we can help you and see if our Master Your Body Confidence program is the perfect fit. like it has been for so many thousands of clients over the years for us. So thanks guys so much for tuning in. We hope that you catch us on the next one. As usual, if you feel like this was of any help whatsoever,